Get that going. My friends, get comfortable because we're getting started here. All right, so here's our agenda for today. We'll start with the limited scope model, why Marble practices limited scope, what's wrong with the billable model, and why co-counsels love limited scope, why additional services are crucial to limited scope model, and how additional services, well, the why, when, and how of utilizing them here at Marble. Why you recommend additional services, not just for the continuity of the client's legal journey, but also in growing your practice, when to recommend them, tips for talking about additional services, how to submit an additional service request, and then we'll open up things for a Q&A. So as you can see, we have quite a few things to get through today. So let's go ahead and dive right on in with a refresher on Marble's limited scope model. All right, so as we get started here, I'm going to go ahead and pass this off to Vanessa, who's going to get into the nuances of the limited scope model and why it can be a better method than billing hours before she gives you all of the specifics you need to successfully recommend additional services to clients. Vanessa, the spotlight's on you. Take it away.
Great. Thank you, Vince. Hi, everyone. I'm Vanessa Tuttle, and I'm thrilled to be here with you today. As Vince stated, I'm the managing attorney of the state of Florida, and it's great to see such a wonderful turnout, especially from those Florida co-counsels. Hi, everyone. Florida was the 5th state to join Marble, and we're approaching our actually 2nd birthday very soon in July. And it's wonderful to hear that Florida has become the top overall in Marble nationwide for requesting these additional services. So I want to congratulate you all, and hopefully today's webinar will help everyone listening to make a top spot for everyone. So now it's time to get started on the good stuff. As everyone is aware, here at Marble, we practice limited scope representation. In simple terms, it means we represent and charge clients a flat fee by legal steps instead of the traditional billable model hours that a lot of you may be used to. When a client starts working with Marble as their co-counsel, it's important to limit the client's contract to, let's say, 1 or 2 services at a time, and whatever is needed, like right now, as it keeps billing, work, and client payments, and especially co-counsel payments, as transparent as possible. As the client's case progresses, you'll recommend each additional legal service until the case is complete. Now I'll hand it back to Vince, who could talk through the why when it comes to Marble and the limited scope model.
Thanks so much, Vanessa. So here at Marble, it's important for us to deliver on our mission of making legal services accessible to everyone. You know, many clients are hesitant to move forward with lawyers because they fear they can't afford them, especially when they are told that they have to put down a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 retainer, which really doesn't promise them actual attorney work to be performed, just the time. So here we provide clear, transparent pricing that connects back to specific legal work each case requires. Practicing this transparent model of law allows us to deliver quality legal services to more people every single day. So when you work with Marble, you can feel confident that you're delivering life-changing legal help to those who might not otherwise have access to it. Now, most of you here are likely familiar with and probably have worked off of the billable hours model. Who here has done that? Say in the chat, yes, no, raise your hand using that reaction. Give me a Zoom reaction. Who here has or may continue to practice using the billable hours model? Yeah, I see quite a few individuals who are raising their hand and some chat messages coming through here as well. Yeah, Stephanie Mezer says, unfortunately. Yeah, Stephanie, maybe you might want to elaborate a little bit more on that in the chat for us. Share a little bit more about why that might be unfortunate. I think we're gonna get at that as well. Now, Vanessa, in your experience as a practicing attorney, you've dabbled a little bit in the billable side as well, haven't you?
For sure. I've definitely done both. And just when it comes to, especially family law, because I feel like never one case goes as planned or as expected. It's just, for me, sometimes, you know, when a client first came into my office and I'll be like, okay, our retainers are $15,000 down. What does that get you? Well, this is what I bill you every 6 minutes. So it could be just starting the case. It could just be opposing counsel is evil and like nonstops message me. So we don't even get too far in your case. But here with this flat fee, it's so great. At least what I've, and especially how my clients have appreciated, being like, this is exactly what you're getting right now. And also those of you who've practiced billable hours, there's no trust accounting or math involved, which I know we all love math, right? No. So but that's a really wonderful dealing with flat fees as well. So we don't have to spend a whole day or a week managing that bookkeeping.
100%. It's as you're sharing that, Vanessa, some of the chats that I'm seeing coming through is, yep, I have, and yup, I still do it and I hate it. Let's see here, really creates a conflict between the client and their lawyer. No more billable hours, tired of that. Keeping up with time is difficult for me. Everything Vanessa is saying. This is really insightful, my friends, because this method of practicing the law, it's been around forever, and many firms stick to it because it is familiar, right? It's what we know and it's what we're comfortable with, but we're pretty sure that there's a better way. So when you break it down, the issues become obvious. You're incentivized to work as much as possible and bill clients as much as possible, which isn't the best recipe for client satisfaction in order to make money for yourself or your firm. I want to share some statistics. Back in 2015, the average number of minimum billable hours a firm required from their client was 1,892 hours. And according to a survey of nearly 3,000 legal professionals, lawyers spend on average about 998 hours per year on admin. So in order to bill 1,892 hours and spend 998 hours taking care of admin each year, would it surprise you to know that you'd have to work a 55-hour work week every week of the year without taking a vacation or a lunch break? It's really no wonder burnout in the legal industry is on the rise. And Vanessa, I see this in our co-counsel who are new to Marble, who are sharing experiences of, my goodness gracious, I'm just tired of working 60-hour weeks.
Yeah, no. And I mean, it's just because, with lawyers, we love the lawyer work. We're trained. This is our passion. We're fighting for clients and justice and rights and especially families here. But then the idea that I have to, work a whole Sunday and, take out the accounting book, or I have to do a Tuesday and I call it's like the collection Tuesday, and I'm calling nonstop asking for, where's the money? Where's the money? You're behind on your bills. You don't have to do that here. We handle that all for you. And seeing all that time given back has been amazing to see in the 2 years that Florida Marble has been around. It's been wonderful.
It's so true. We take on a lot of the business operation side of that relationship so that our attorneys really can focus on the most important element of what they do each and every day. And that wasn't becoming collection agents, that was practicing the law and helping advocate for individuals. Banishing burnout is far from the only benefit co-counsels who practice limited scope representation enjoy. So let's talk through a few of the benefits here. First, visibility into your earnings. There's no longer a need to bill as many hours as you can. When you get a case offer, you're going to see what you'll earn for completing the case before you even accept it. Plus, in the Marble Attorney Home, our new future earnings tab will provide you with a tally of all the money you can expect to earn should you successfully complete each of the services you've been contracted for. This makes it really easy to ensure you're tracking against your income goals. You also have full control over your schedule. You're not getting assigned cases by a boss. You are the boss. It's up to you whether or not you want to take a case. Though it's always worth noting, the more cases you take on with us, the quicker you can grow. Now, from a technical perspective, helping clients who may not have been able to afford representation and would have gone pro se means you're helping make the courts more efficient. Clients who go pro se and don't have a good grasp of the legal system are a big contributor to court backlogs. So by offering them the help that they need, you're helping reduce that backlog. Vanessa, I would never go into a hospital feeling comfortable or confident that I would be able to diagnose nor treat myself for any sort of ailment that was afflicting me. I would rely on the expertise and experience of a licensed medical professional, but so many individuals who of course are afforded this right, try to navigate a very complicated and convoluted system, the legal system in of itself, on their own.
Yeah, it's definitely a shame. And I think maybe it's price and people are scared and, so it's wonderful to see that so many clients are able to, retain attorneys through our awesome payment plans.
100%. Now, last but not least, as I mentioned earlier, Marble practices limited scope because it's one of the best ways to deliver on our mission of making legal services accessible to all. As Vanessa just said, it's about removing those barriers that exist today from a potential or existing client being able to work with a qualified legal team. So when you co-counsel with Marble, you're not only working in a way that gives you clear insights into your financial potential and full autonomy of your schedule, but you're also working with a mission-driven team. So I'm going to hand this back to Vanessa, who's going to talk through the connection between limited scope and additional services while walking through everything you need to know in order to recommend them with ease.
Great. Thanks, Vince. And as he just mentioned, I'm going to talk how limited scope model and additional services are connected. And this is one of my favorite phrases for when I speak to new attorneys and co-counsel who join Marble. Limited scope does not mean limited representation. I want to say that again. Limited scope does not mean limited representation. We are able to handle all of the client family law needs that arise. What makes us different is that we just contract for it one step at a time. And here are some examples. Let's just say you completed a petition service. Does the client need an answer and counter, maybe a mediation, maybe financial discovery? That would be how you add on in that natural course. Or let's just say maybe during a new client call, you found out the client was just served, and instead of the petition that you thought you were going to start, maybe it needs to be the answer and counter. Or let's see, maybe another one. During a client call or a docket review, or you get an email from the court or opposing counsel and you see a case management conference, or maybe opposing party, filed a motion that would require, an opposition or settlement or a hearing. These are all great instances on when you would know how it would need to arise. It's just that every single kind of case, it's just sometimes cases, get little things thrown in different numerical orders. For instance, for me out of Hillsborough County, I know in Florida, there's always CMCs, but other counties not. Sometimes you need extra mediation, sometimes you don't. So it's really great that we can make these organic ways for the client to know exactly what they're getting, what exactly you're getting, and to contract it all in a very unique way. That's really, probably very few would ever be the same. So now we're going to share a short video that our clients are now receiving at the beginning of their legal journey with us here at Marble. And this little video is going to be helpful to, kind of refresh everybody's memory, and might be really great for us to reshare on our own to kind of show and demonstrate, more in like layman's terms on how the limited scope model works.
Yay. Okay, everybody should be able to hear the volume on my computer, and you should be able to see this video. Please let me know in the chat if you can't see that, and we'll go ahead and get you the link so that you can see this video. I absolutely love it. I think I've watched it like, I don't know, maybe 50 or 60 times.
Get to the other side of your legal journey with Marble. Through helping more than 20,000 clients move forward, we've found that no two cases are the same. That's why we take a step-by-step approach where you only hire Marble for the services you need as you need them. Each service has a clear price, so you always know what's included and what it costs in advance. This is officially called limited scope, and it's a time-tested way of practicing law that gives you more control over your case. Here's how we work together. We take the time to understand your needs and create a personalized path forward, starting with the initial service or services you need now. We do it this way because in cases like divorce or child custody, getting to that final resolution can look very different. Depending on your specific needs, we may recommend more services to get you there. For example, maybe you want help negotiating with your opposing party, or maybe you need help figuring out spousal support. But unlike traditional law firms, at Marble, Only you can approve which steps we take and when we take them. So you'll never receive any surprise bills from us. No matter what happens with your case, we'll be here to guide you one step at a time. Get to the other side of your legal journey with Marble.
Like my favorite video.
I love it. Yeah. So are we sending this link to the clients immediately? And is this a link that maybe we could put in the chat so everyone can maybe save on their desktop that we can always refresh the clients, because you may see it once. Oh, it's always great to see.
Yes, no, and this is a phenomenal question. Yes, this video is being shared with all of our potential clients at the time that they sign up for their legal strategy session. So in our follow-up correspondence, we're both emailing and texting this video to give our potential clients better insight into limited scope before they have an opportunity to visit with an attorney regarding their legal circumstance or situation. And yes, we will absolutely share this video over with everyone. We have made it available in the general Slack channel on Marble, and we'll share it here with you as well.
Great, thanks, Vince. Now we'll move on from the how, and now we're going to say, why should you recommend additional services? Once you've completed a client's initial services, there are a number of benefits to recommending and representing them for additional services in their case. The first is obvious. You're adding onto your client portfolio with us. It's always better to move on with a client you're currently working with to the next legal step than, let's just say, a brand new client, as you've already established the client's facts, relationship, strategy, already got some forms down. It's just, just keep that train on moving. And of course, this building onto that client's case increases your legal fee payouts, which is the ultimate goal, why most of us are here, right? And then secondly, the client trusts you now. They know you're not overbilling by asking for another $10,000 retainer down for miscellaneous work that may or may not come up. They've seen your work, and they should be more than happy to continue having you represent them moving forward. Plus, you get the satisfaction of helping the client through their entire legal case. You're now invested just as much as the clients are by helping them obtain their goals. Makes you always feel good at the end of the case. You finally got that parent to see their children and, or tie up that very, 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 very difficult divorce. And as we've mentioned, working this way can lead to happier clients, which can help you thrive with Marble and grow your practice. Now let's talk timing. I'm going to walk through now when it's best, what time is best to recommend additional services, which is a little difficult because I don't think there's one specific time I can really say which is best. It's really whenever it's needed, but it's best to be as proactive as possible. You don't want our clients to be surprised by the next additional service, but it's rather that you want the client to look forward to them and for the client to expect it. Like, what's now? What's next? So, for instance, when a client signs up with Marble, and even before that, during that legal strategy session, it's important that they understand how we work. You never want a client to feel blindsided by the fact that their case may require a number of services. So make that very clear from the beginning. For instance, I heard some great explanation as like a la carte menu, or one slice of a pie at a time, or one bite of an apple at a time. So that way the client can maybe visualize and understand that the law is intricate, and maybe there's 2 slices, or maybe there's going to be 10 slices to this pie. I think Florida, we got up to 9 so far that I've seen 9 slices to my pie so far. And we're a little shy of 2 years too. So, but, obviously that's a very contested family law case, but, and every case is different. Some is a petition and a settlement right away, you never know. So, and just to add for additional crest, if something also, instead of just maybe, at the beginning, if something changes while you're actually handling this case and litigating it, let's just say what you've selected wasn't really what the client needs and changes, let the client know and let Marble know right away. Since we are representing our clients by service and the contracts by service, it's very important that our contracts are correct. For instance, you don't want to have signed up for A, but then be doing B, but like, it's kind of okay, kind of similar. No, we will definitely, we're here at Marble to correct that for you. So the contract says you are doing B, client's paying for B, because we never want to ever have the client question what payment is what they're getting. And you don't want to be like, remember that was fuzzy. Remember, even though you signed up for A, we did B, but make sure we always get that correct. And though we've touched on the importance of making limited scope as clear as possible to clients, sometimes they still may need a gentle reminder. And on this next slide, we're going to walk you through what to keep in mind. As soon as you know a client needs an additional service, give them a call to let them know. That way you'll be able to talk through the service and why they need it and answer any questions they may have. For many clients, additional services are a big financial commitment. It's best for them to hear directly from their attorney why the case needs more instead of the financial team. But also make sure, do not discuss the pricing, because that is also the financial team with Marble's job. And the same goes for our financial team who's unable to give legal advice. Our financial team is fantastic at what they do with the payment plans and the numbers and the billings. Remember, we all stated at the beginning, none of us want to do that. We're excited we don't have to do it, but also our financial team can explain, what are financial disclosures? Why are they needed? Why do I need a mediation, even though me and my the opposing party will never agree? And why, do I need this motion? And why do I need this? They may not be qualified for it and they really can't give the legal advice. And that's what we are here as attorneys are here to do. So be mindful that your expertise helps the client understand the why. And that's why it's important to inform these clients that they'll need additional services sooner rather than later. So there is zero to surprise.
You guys, as licensed attorneys, are you're their likable experts, right? You are their Sherpa for all things like law related to see them through each of those steps, right?
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then Marble will take care of all of that cost side of the relationship so that we can keep them moving forward, because it's very complicated and confusing for clients. We oftentimes find that they just don't necessarily understand. So speaking to a licensed attorney really helps them, get that clarity that they need.
Yeah. And sometimes we've done this so much, we become robotic sometimes that we're like, oh, duh, the next step is your, financial disclosures. Of course they're due. Well, why do I have to give all these bank statements? Why do and, accountants don't know that, sometimes I even don't know that, but, we have to explain why and how maybe the numbers will be calculated. And, depending on, if it's a divorce or child support or whatnot. And also, usually it's pretty much required by every court and judge, and they don't want to, handicap their case. So it's always going to be a different explanation for either. And I wish I could give a blurb that would answer all the whys, but I don't think it can,
Exactly. No, I don't think so either.
Yeah, great. So on that note, Vince, why don't you go ahead and get into the technicalities on how we can actually request these additional services?
I would love to. All right, my friends. So submitting an additional service request is easier now than ever thanks to our new service request form. Once you've informed your client that they'll need an additional service over the phone and then by email, you're going to head over to Lawmatics, Marble's case management system, to fill out the service request form. Now, Lawmatics is where you go to launch the form in of itself. What we're going to recommend before doing so is to confirm that you are logged into the Marble Attorney Home. Both Lawmatics and your Marble Attorney Home are connected for this specific process. Verify that you're logged into the Attorney Home first, and then go into Lawmatics to submit your form. I think you'll find that you have a more seamless experience in doing so. Now, when completing this form, what you're going to do is select the service that the client may need from the drop-down menu. When you select this service, you're going to be provided with a description of the service in of itself. And before submitting, keep in mind that any notes you add to the request form are going to be sent to the client via email. It gives them visibility on why you're making these recommendations, and will hopefully align to that conversation you had with them before submitting the form in of itself. With our current process, submitting the form creates a ticket for our financial team. And as we've mentioned, they'll reach out to discuss pricing with the client directly, which is why it's so crucial that you give them a call beforehand so that the client is already aware of why they need the service. If the financial team has any questions for you, they're going to go ahead and reach out to you directly. I'm also excited to share some insight into what the future of additional services looks like here at Marble. We've been hard at work behind the scenes to create a more seamless additional services process. So here's what you can expect coming up. Soon, once you submit an additional service request via the form we just discussed, the client will get a text notification. And from their phone, they'll be able to navigate to their Marble portal, where they can view the services you recommended, their descriptions, and how much they cost. The client can then pay directly from their Marble account. If clients have questions for you, they can reach out directly through this page, and any questions they submit are going to be sent to you by email. We encourage you to respond to these emails within 2 business days for a seamless case delivery experience. This really eliminates the need for a call with the financial team, which reduces the time it takes for service requests to get processed and approved. Now, our goal here is to make adding services to a client's case as seamless as possible for both you and them, so you can get back to work faster. Right now, we're in the process of testing this out, and we'll let all of our attorneys know when it's been rolled out on a company-wide basis. There we go. All right. So with that being said, we hope that you have all gleaned from this webinar that we're really always working to make this process as smooth as possible so that you can continue to grow your book of business here with Marble. It's our goal from today's webinar that this process has been made a little bit more clearer in how you can utilize additional services to not just help the client move forward in their legal journey with the law firm, but also grow your book of business in a meaningful way. Now, what I want to do is, Michelle, are you still with us?
I sure am.
Yay! Have we been getting some really cool questions?
We've been getting some amazing questions. Some were very specific, so I did my best to answer those to those people directly. But yep, we do have a handful of questions that I think would be great for this group. So one of the question was around mentioning the 1 to 2 additional services. So it's why does it have to be 1 to 2 additional services? Why can't I scope multiple at once, especially when I know exactly what this client needs?
That is a great question. So, and I think it's like more of twofold is the answer. For instance, let's just say a mediation order comes in and the mediation order says the financial disclosures are due to, and the financial, some paperwork is due within 10 days of the mediation. So you really know you need both right now. That is phenomenal. Go ahead and contract those both right now. But let's just say you're predicting the case. Let's say I want to predict that, okay, after this, after the petition, I will need discovery because I like to serve my client with discovery. And then after discovery, we're going to go to mediation. But what if that doesn't go the way you plan? Once the parties agree and you don't need mediation, and then you need to amend your current contract. So you need to kind of cancel the one out you have now, even though you have multiple services. And you're like, okay, now I want an MSA step, not a mediation step, but even though it was linked with the other 2. And this is actually going to link into probably the most important reason not to, everybody. The most important reason not to is the reason why you guys here. I mean, we love you all. And we all know we're carrying out missions. It kind of confuses your pay. So when you contract for, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you don't get that final 2/3 pay until 5 is done. So if you're saying, oh yeah, this client wants a petition and financial disclosures and mediation and this motion and this discovery and this deposition and this trial, well, the final pay, because of the way the contract's worded, you can't get that final pay until the trial is completed. So that's why it's really easy, especially for your accounting purposes. Do the 1 or 2 that are needed right now, and then you get the full payout, and then you continue again. And once if you and the client become like in this big, huge disagreement because they are arguing that they don't want to do time sharing and they think that you're just siding with the opposing party. Then if you need to withdraw, and then you have all these additional fees, and there might have to be clawbacks because you didn't do that. It gets really complicated when you try to predict a case.
This is a really good question, Vanessa. And from it was actually kind of interesting. We were in a conversation with an attorney in our immigration practice area, and they were trying to structure the legal strategy for a client who was looking for a K-1 visa. And when they submitted their notes from the strategy session, their scope of service recommendations, one of the things that we noticed immediately was that there were like maybe 5 or 6 different scopes that really tried to capture the entirety of that client's legal journey. And when we went back to the attorney to learn a little bit more, what we found out timeline-wise was that following that legal strategy session, the client really needed, out of all of those 5 or 6 services, really just one to get started. And it was to file the application. And the reason for this is because it can take up to a year, we learned, for that application to actually be processed by the government agency or authority. And then based on the response to that application by the authority would dictate what that next step could or would be. And so we were able to work with the attorney on regrouping with that client in revising the original service recommendations to really identify what can we help them out with most immediately.
Absolutely.
And I see, Vince, that you answered this in the chat, but a lot of questions is, okay, cool. Like I get what you guys are saying, but where do I do this? And that's in Lawmatics. And we're gonna walk through that, correct?
I would love to. In fact, if this is now an opportune time, can I go ahead and do it?
I think that would be ideal. And while you're getting that set up, one of the other questions was, okay, I understand the additional services, but what about if I need to change their current services? And that's the same form. So all of this is in the same place. And I think this is a perfect time, Vince, for you to go through it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Swap, like you just swap A for B.
So in Lawmatics, which is where you do about 95 to 98% of your case management responsibilities, what you'll want to do is navigate to the client's matters profile. Remember, in Lawmatics, that matters are the specific scope of service that we're currently helping that client with. In this example, we'll go ahead and use Chance House's divorce petition. This is my test account here as the example. So let's go ahead and navigate right on over to his page. Now, remember, Lawmatics and the Marble Attorney Home are connected in this process. Before taking any action in Lawmatics, you'll want to make sure that you're logged into the Marble Attorney Home. For those who are new to Marble, you can find the Marble Attorney Home at attorneys.marble.co/login. And we'll go ahead and drop this link in the chat so that you can bookmark it in your favorite web browser. Once you've logged into the Marble Attorney Home, head on back over into Lawmatics. On the left-hand side of the display, you're going to see a couple of different icons, one that looks like a hamburger. It's the open form link, and if we click that, a slide out will appear from the right side of the display. In the drop-down menu available, we do have one of the very first options available to you, change or add service request form. Click the open button and a new tab will open in your web browser, and you'll be prompted to go to the improved form. Making sure that you're logged into the Marble Attorney Home and then clicking this link will automatically open up the new add or change services form. Once you've submitted that form, you are welcome to go ahead and close this particular tab. It'll take maybe a minute up to 15 minutes before you'll receive a confirmation in the activity timeline, letting you know that we have successfully received your form and you'll be able to review your submission directly in the activity timeline.
Great, thanks, Vince.
Good deal. A few more questions, if you don't mind, if we try to get through some more of these. What if I don't want to work with the client through their entire case? Vanessa, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, so that's a good one. And it kind of falls into a couple different criteria. One is usually one you can't. Like, for instance, let's just say there's emergency fire motion that the court will not reschedule, or let's just say you have something personal going on and you're having knee surgery next month and you can't, you have to take the summer off from, maybe attending cases. We have an attorney swap form. And that could also be good for situations. Let's just say you need someone maybe a little bit more litigious, or somebody in a different jurisdiction, venue area, or, maybe someone that's a little bit more sensitive and nurturing. You are a litigious person. Then we have an attorney swap form, kind of right where Vince was showing you. Do you still have access to kind of pull it down? So Vince will pull it down as I'm continue talking. And then you can ask for an attorney transfer request and give the specific reasons why. This form will then be submitted. Your local managing attorney will review it, usually within 2-3 business days. And so believe me, if there's a hearing tomorrow, don't do this. It's not, no one's going to be able to act that quickly. That needs to be like an urgent phone call to somebody. But nonetheless, fill out this form. It will be reviewed. And if it's something that should be reviewed, should be transferred because it will benefit everybody involved, especially the client, because obviously it's always the client's choice to counsel. Choose their counsel, then it will 100% be granted and somebody else can be found. However, the one sticky reason why, and this falls into the other one, where it might be declined, and I've seen a few of these, it's just a client that neither you or your best friend attorney shouldn't work with. If I call these red flag clients, let's just say the client is hostile, is cursing, is yelling, is getting orders from the court and I don't care what the judge said, or, outbursts, it's just a very uncooperative client for several reasons, then that's a client that, we prefer maybe not pursuing. My suggestion is usually finishing. That's why it's also great to have these little one scope contracts. Try to finish that one scope that you're currently on, just because it cleans it up nicely into a little bow. And then you can recommend to the client, be like, listen, I appreciate everything. You should find new counsel moving forward because my last service of mediation is complete. That I don't think in situations where other counsel should be handled a hostile client for those reasons. And then, or let's just say you can't finish that contract. Then obviously it gets a little stickier and you can do emotional withdrawal, but yeah, we can definitely contact your Marble legal team and we can help you through that as well. But it's always easier if you can try to finish up that one scope. If not, then, as I was saying before, the reason why all these scopes, then we have to find percentages of work, disengage. You probably have to file a motion withdrawal. You probably have to go to a hearing and explain to the judge with the client there. Especially if it's a hostile person, I don't want to go to court more with them. So, try to, keep it as wrapped up as nicely as possible.
Kind of gives like a really nice organic end to that relationship at that point in time.
Yeah, and that goes into one of the first questions I answered. It's like, why when there's only one? Be like,
yeah,
absolutely. In the worst case, luckily that's a minority. It really is a minority, but it happens.
Thanks, Vanessa. A few more around more of the logistics of the form. It sounds like we've had a few people that have said that their form has not worked on occasion, so I'm happy to answer that. With the recent updates in the new form, it does require that you're also logged into your Marble home. So that's the first thing I'd recommend is just troubleshooting to make sure you're logged in there, because that will take you to that external link. But should you run into any access issues, that's exactly what our team is here for. So you can reach out to our engagement team. I will also include our help center link in the chat. That is another great thing to bookmark. I myself have it bookmarked as well. Thanks, Vince, for sending the Marble home. That's where you can reach our team, our support team. We also have a phone line. And yeah, we're here to help. So first step, troubleshoot by making sure you're logged in. And second, call us if you continue to run into any issues. Okay, the next question is, how do I know what stage a service is at and when or if to start working on it? That's a great question. Vanessa, are you comfortable with that one?
Sure. And I think this is more of a technicality one. I mean, it should be one very explicit in the engagement letter with the client for what service is selected. And two, it should be outlined in very specific in Lawmatics as well as your attorney portal. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah. Yes. And of course, if you have specific questions around that, you can task us. You can ask your Marble legal team. We're always happy to help dig into that. I'm getting this question several times, so I feel like we should just bump it up to now. Someone else just wrote it in. What if I can't find the service that I'm trying to add? And this is a really good question. Let me go ahead and answer that for us. Currently, the search is only available in the order of the term, or in order of the service that you're trying to add. So right now it only goes by that first letter, first word. You have to be very, very specific. Our team is working very, very quickly to make sure that we have this updated for you all. In the next few weeks, you should be able to type and search by anything within that service and have it pop up a little bit quicker, which I know would be a huge help. So thank you all for that feedback. But yeah, for now, you just want to search by by the services that you know. And if you ever cannot find the specific service, but you find one close, please feel free to write in the notes everything that you'd like our team to know, and they'll likely call you if they have any additional questions. Okay, one more I see here is there a list of options and of what is best to recommend next? Do you understand that one, Vanessa? So is there a list of options and what best to recommend next? So maybe like as they're getting through the case, like how do I know when it's time, and what would be the next thing I should recommend?
Yeah, that's kind of hard because, you know, not every case is probably the same. I mean, so what, you know, client John Doe is different than maybe what, you know, Mary Johnson may need. So it's hard to say like an exact footprint, but, you know, and I think all of us should be qualified litigators that we know what's next. So I can't literally say, but if you kind of want a list of services, I know I have one. It's like a shell, and not proud, but it's about 70. I think there's about 70 suggested services that we offer. And the crazy part is that's not enough. And I have to create new services like every day. Because, you know, we try to like, you know, capsize like everything that can happen. And sometimes it might be just generic motion, because we can't have a motion to dismiss, a motion transfer venue, a motion for this, a motion for this. So it might be just, you know, one motion undefined that can kind of like piggyback some of those. So, you know, you can definitely reach out to your MA, because it's, oh man, it was really hard to, I was told to even make it smaller than 70 and I can't. So, but yeah, your MA may have a list, and I know I've given it out to some of my Floridians, and it's good to kind of like refresh, but if you find something not on that list, we can definitely create it for you 100%.
Yeah, your managing attorney is like they helped to curate that list of services. So if you're not necessarily finding what you need on that list, they might have a recommendation of an alternative to use, or like Vanessa said, can even help build out something for you.
I love all of our managing attorneys. They're always so willing to step in, like especially you, Vanessa, but all of our MAs are so great. Feel free to give them a shout out in the chat. Okay, next question was, do I need to make the new client call for these additional services? I'm happy to speak to this one, Vanessa, or if you feel more comfortable. It's always a best practice to give them a call. It drastically reduces the anxiety for these clients, as they've just now, they're making additional payments, they're adding on more to their agreement, and they just want to know what's happening. This is a very stressful time for them in most situations. No one is often excited to be at this in what they're in. So that phone call only really helps. The only time it's required is when it's a new client. But again, best practice is every time you add on additional services.
Yeah, and to maybe build on it, and not necessarily, you know, it has to be sometimes a formal phone call, because you just talk to the client Monday, and then the client signs the contract for the additional service on Wednesday. So you can be like, hey, thank you for signing. It could just be like a quick email or a text, because, you know, remember, you can text from the dial pad that we give you. It could be like, hey, got your contract for the mediation. I'm going to work on coordinating those dates right away. You know, let's chat soon, you know, and I'll touch base with you next week, or whenever it is your natural course, or, you know, follow up and let them know that you received it and you're working on it for sure.
Sorry, I just want to see, a few of these are fairly specific. I'm chatting you all back if I think it's something that your engagement manager can answer for you all. But let me just see here. I see that we had one regarding immigration. Sorry, one other second here. Sorry about that. This was kind of similar, but what if the service options don't describe the specific scope? Again, do the best of your abilities to pick what's closest and write in the notes what you were looking to add. Vanessa, Vince, did you guys have any questions that had come through prior that were not included here? If not, I mean, we're getting some amazing activity here in the chat as well.
Overall, I think we've been able to answer the vast majority, but we'll keep this conversation going, my friends, even after today's webinar. The beauty of your support team here at Marble is that you have a dedicated team of subject matter experts ready to lend assistance at any point in time for you, whether it's your managing attorney or your engagement team. We are here to ensure that both you and your clients have a successful, well, that you and your client are able to navigate a successful journey towards that end or productive outcome with their respective case matter. With that being said, we are going to go ahead and share a recording of this experience after the webinar ends today so that everybody can refer back to it, or for those that may not have been able to attend, do have that chance as well. We are just coming upon the top of the hour, and to be sensitive of everyone's time here today, we wanted to thank everyone for sharing a small part of their Friday to join us for this webinar. Hopefully it has been of tremendous value to everyone who joined us in learning more about Marble's additional services program. I wanted to give a very special thanks to Vanessa, our managing attorney in Florida, for joining us. Vanessa, always wonderful. I'm so glad to know that you and Florida are helping to lead the charge here and lending that tremendous insight and guidance that you bring to the table. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And thanks for having me. This was fun, Vince. Let's do another.
Agreed. And any event that we host here, we love to see Michelle Taramina, our head of engagement, leading the charge on getting those questions answered and providing guidance on the individuals best equipped to assist with getting you the answers and the resources you need to be successful. Thank you, Michelle.
Of course. And thank you, Vince. You always bring the energy, and everyone is so excited in the chats, and I will hold you both to it. Now that I know how excited everyone is and how much you both enjoy doing this, we'll absolutely be doing them again. So thank you as well.
Absolutely. Well, my friends, thank you so much. Really enjoyed the time we spent here this morning. We are just at the start of a holiday weekend, so we wanted to wish you all the very best. Please be safe. Hopefully it's a fun weekend for all of you. Take care and have a wonderful rest of your Friday. We'll see you later.
Thanks all. Bye-bye.
Everyone. I feel like we need some post music, like closing.
I'm like, there we go. Do we got it? Is it back? There we go.
I'm seeing stars as I'm rubbing